Marriage is a private affair. It is written by Chinua Achebe. Chinua Achebe is a Nigerian writer. Chinua Achebe was born in 1930 to an Igbo Christian parents. Achebe completed his BA degree from the University of London. Then after in his degree life, he studied literature, history and theology. After completion of his degree, he soon went to work as a teacher in a small school, and after that he went to work in a broadcasting company of Nigeria. And later he also served as the professor of literature in many universities of England as well as America. Chinua Achebe is basically known as a novelist. He has to his credit many important novels as Things Fall Apart, No Longer at Ease and Arrow of God. It is about the introduction of the author. In the present story, marriage is a private affair. Achebe tries to represent how the people of Igbo community, how their beliefs were rooted in the religion and customs of the community. Let us know the important characters of the story. Important characters are Nameka, who is the central character of the story, his wife Nene Atang, then his father Okeke, his father's friend Madugobu, then the girl whom his father brought for a proposal to marry him is the girl Ugoi Neke, who is daughter of Jacob Neke. The story opens in the room of Nene, situated in Kasagua street of Lagos, where Nameka and Nene are discussing, and Nene asks Nameka if he has written any letter to his father informing about their decision to marry each other. Then Nameka says no. He was little worried about how to convince his father about their marriage. But Nene, as she was born and brought up in the city area, in the city environment, she never believed in any religious customs. But Nameka knew how much his father was rooted in the religious customary life. So she feels it gives really happiness. It gives really pleasure to Nameka's father if he comes to know about the truth of his son's marriage with this girl. But Nameka knew the truth, what his father is going to do and how his father is going to react on it. In many ways they discuss, and at last Nameka says, I know that your father really loves you, and I believe that he will definitely accept our marriage. After discussing all these things, Nameka leaves for his house. And while going to home, he was all thinking all the way how to convince his father, how to overcome the situations, the reactions which his father shows towards him after knowing the truth. And in the meantime, he opens a letter which he recently got from his father. And in that letter, it was written that, Dear son, I have seen a girl for you. She is Ogoi Neke, the daughter of our neighbor Jacob Neke. She is a really good charactered girl, and she is having the Christian background, and she is well trained to be a good wife. But this matter actually shocks Nameka because Nameka already loved another girl. But he did not tell this matter to his girlfriend even though he knew it earlier. Then after coming home, he thinks and he decides to go back to his village, and one fine day he goes back to his village. And after going to his village, the father and son, both of them, they go and sit under a tree in their front yard. Then Nameka started, "Father, I have come here to ask your forgiveness." Then father replies, "Forgiveness? For what purpose?" Then son says, "About the marriage." Then he replies, "What for the marriage?" Then he says, I really don't love the girl whom you have brought for me." Then his father replies, "Who told that you did it? In fact, nobody loves." Then he was not having any other words, and Nameka got that it's hopeless. He cannot now wait. And he says, "No, no, I can't." Then he said very abruptly, "It's impossible for me to marry the girl you have seen." Then he says the reason that he says, "I love another girl and her name is Nene Atang." Then his father replies, "What did you say?" "Nene Atang," he replies. All the mildness of his father, it went away, and he was little shocked to listen to his son. And then he says, "Whose daughter is she anyway?" Then he replies, "Nene Atang, who lives in the city Lagos." And he also mentions that she is a school teacher and she is having all the good qualities which Ogoy Neke had. And then as he mentions she is a school teacher, then Nene interrupts and says, if she is a Christian, then it's wrong which she is doing, because in the letter to Corinthians the Bible says women, they should keep silent, they should not speak out. Then it's opposite of Bible. But even though his father, he got lot of anger, after finally Nameka says that he can marry only and only Nene Atang, nobody else. This decision he said very strongly, and Nameka thought that his father is going to burst out of his anger. But it was all opposite. His father never replied to it, and he was very silent. And then with little bit worried kind of situation, Nameka once again started to convince his father, telling him, "Father, you will definitely like her. You will definitely be happy if once you know Nene." Then suddenly his father replies, "I shall never meet her." Then after this he goes away to his room. And Nene's father, he was all about thinking, and he started knowing that Nameka is going wrong. And later on also he tries to convince that maybe you are caught up by a Satan. But Nameka, he was inside thinking it's all nothing else. And the next day Nameka had to leave, and the whole day Nameka goes on thinking how his father should come up out of his grave. He knew to what extent his father was worried about him. Even though he loved, he was really careful towards his father also. He loved his father a lot. Then later on he he gave hopes to himself, telling himself that it's okay, because my father, because he has never seen such situations in his generation, it's very new to him. But as the days pass, he will definitely be okay. He convinces himself in this way, and he leaves for Lagos. Then back in the village, the conversation, this matter was actually spread all over the village, as it was very small village. Then one fine day, as Okeke, it means father of Nameka, as he was praying, one of his friends, he comes and asks, by the way, what does our Lord say? Then Okeke replies, sons shall rise against their father, says the Bible verses, he says. Then the reply comes from another person. It means the other person says, then it's surely the beginning of end. Then one more person named Modugu. His name is Modubogu. So he replies, then have you ever thought of consulting a local doctor about this? Then Okeke replies, my son is not sick at all. Then he asks, if not sickness, what is it then? I am sure only a great herbalist can find the remedy for his mental disease. I am sure that he is diseased mentally. Then he also goes on telling that amarili is the drop which needs to be applied on his head, which usually other women also use to bring their husbands to become affectionate towards themselves. But Okeke, he never believed in all these things and he opposes, he doesn't agree. Even they give some examples of a village woman, but even then Okeke doesn't agree with this. He says, if my son, if he himself wants to go on wrong ways, then why should I stop him? Let him learn his lessons. He says in this way and he goes away. Then now the story goes back in the city Lagos, where after 6 months young Nameka and his young wife are discussing, and Nameka shows a small letter to his wife Nene, which letter came from his father. In that letter it was written in this way, how could you feel unfeeling to send me the wedding pictures of your marriage? How could you think of sending me the wedding pictures? At first I thought of sending it back to you, but why should I do like that? Then later on I decided to burn it out. But even then, why should I do anything with you? Because I don't have any problem with you. So I decided to tear it apart. And he sent back only the pictures of Nameka. He torn out all the pictures of Nene Atang. So after reading this letter, Nene was really she was unable to control her emotions. But Nameka consoles her, telling her, my dear, you don't have to worry. You don't know him. He is really very kind, and very soon, one day, he will definitely come and look towards you very kindly. But 8 years passed, that one day never came in their life. In 8 days span, his father Okeke never wrote even a single letter, or he never made any attempts to meet his son and daughter-in-law, except 3 times replies to Nameka's letter, that too when Nameka himself wrote letters to his father. And in one of the letters, his father mentioned, I shall never accept you in my house. Wherever you go, wherever you live, whatever you do, I don't have any interest to interrupt in your matters. It was the very harsh word by Okeke to his son. Then after this, there was no any news about Okeke, but Nameka and Nene, they were leading very happy life in Lagos, and their happiness, the news of their happy life was even spread in the village of Okeke. Many people knew that Nameka and Nene are the happiest couple to live forever. But unfortunately, very few people, among whom even OKK was there, to be unaware about their happiness of his son and daughter-in-law. He always avoided even to listen or hear his son's name from anybody else. So many people even in the village, they used to prevent using Nameka's name in front of OKK. In this way the situation was going on. But finally one day after 8 years, OKK saw a letter which was sent by Nene, his daughter-in-law, and in that letter it was mentioned that even though in that letter it was mentioned that in that letter Nene says, "Dear father-in-law, as we have born two children, two of your grandchildren, and as they have come to know that their grandfather lives in the village, they have been asking us to meet you. It's their really humble request. They want to meet you, and if you don't want me to come, then I may not come, but I shall send your son Nameka and your grandchildren to meet and spend their holidays at your village." This was the letter. Even though this old man, OKK, even though he was very angry towards her, he made the ways to read this letter, and when he read this letter, all his anger went away and he became emotional. It means it's the sign that even he missed his children, his son and his grandchildren, and now he is ready to meet all of them, and he becomes so happy to listen to this news that he is having grandchildren. So here the story gets end, that is, marriage is a private affair.